This vehicle couldn't just be sent on a mission. Before that, it had to be partially stripped down. Otherwise, it simply wouldn't fit under a helicopter. And even then, it barely met the requirements. This is the Land Rover Lightweight, a machine built not for roads, but for the sky. In the 1960s, the British Army began to change the way it fought wars. Vehicles were no longer just driven to the battlefield. They had to be delivered by air, directly into combat zones. And that's where the problem began. Standard Land Rovers were reliable and capable, but they were too heavy. They simply didn't meet the new requirements. That's why the idea emerged. Create a vehicle that could be transported by air, even slung beneath a helicopter. But the limits of air transport were strict. And those limits forced engineers to come up with some very unusual solutions. And this is where things get interesting. Land Rover engineers didn't build a completely new vehicle from scratch. Instead, they took a standard 88-inch Land Rover and began adapting it to meet the new requirements. But the challenge was this. Simply making the vehicle lighter wasn't enough. It had to be designed in a way that allowed it to change depending on the task. That's how one of the Lightweight's key features was born. The ability to quickly remove certain components before transport. The upper door sections, the windscreen, and various body elements could all be taken off just before loading, reducing both weight and overall size. And this is where the real paradox appears. In its full configuration, the Lightweight wasn't always significantly lighter than a standard Land Rover. But once the unnecessary parts were removed, it became exactly what was needed, a vehicle that could finally be transported by air. In effect, it was a vehicle with two states, a fully assembled version for ground operations and a stripped-down configuration for transport. Even the name half-ton could be misleading. It didn't refer to the vehicle's weight, but to its payload capacity under military classification. But the Lightweight wasn't just an experiment. Production began in 1968, with the first vehicles based on the Series 2A. Then, in 1972, the model transitioned to the Series 3 platform. The changes weren't revolutionary, but they mattered. An improved gearbox, an updated dashboard, a new headlight layout, and other small refinements that made the vehicle easier to use in the field. But the core idea remained the same. The Lightweight continued to serve the role it was designed for, to be as simple, reliable, and air-portable as possible. A production continued until 1984. During that time, these vehicles were used across a wide range of units, from artillery to communications, handling everything from transport duties to more specialized tasks. Not just in the United Kingdom, they also served in other NATO countries, including the Netherlands and Belgium. Many of these vehicles remained in service well into the 1990s, and even after being retired, they didn't disappear. Instead, they found a second life in civilian use, wherever simple, capable, and highly off-road vehicles were still needed. The Lightweight wasn't built for comfort, it was built for a purpose. And you feel that the moment you get behind the wheel. Space inside is limited. Your knees sit close to the steering wheel, and the wheel itself is large, nearly 18 inches in diameter, with no power steering. Every turn takes real effort. Under the hood is a simple, proven 2.25-liter engine, the same one used in other Land Rovers. No experiments here, just reliability. The vehicle constantly demands your attention. You have to actively control it, making small corrections, keeping it straight, not letting it drift. The suspension is stiff, built on traditional leaf springs, and over rough terrain, you don't just notice the bumps, you feel them through your entire body. At the same time, there's almost nothing unnecessary inside. No sound insulation, no comfort features, just what's needed to get the job done. Top speed is around 90 kilometers per hour. But speed was never the point, because where the road ends, the Lightweight is just getting started. There were also specialized versions. One of them was the FFR variant fitted for radio. These vehicles were equipped with a 24-volt electrical system and designed to operate military radio equipment. You can easily recognize them by their distinctive antennas and additional fittings on the body. But regardless of the version, the core idea remained the same. Maximum simplicity, maximum functionality, and no unnecessary comfort. The Land Rover Lightweight is more than just another military vehicle. It's an example of how specific requirements can reshape the very idea of what a vehicle should be. It wasn't built for comfort or speed. It was built for a purpose, to reach places other vehicles simply couldn't. And that's exactly why it turned out the way it did. Simple, harsh, and uncomfortable, but incredibly effective. Today, these vehicles are no longer in active military service as they once were. But they haven't disappeared. You can still find them in private collections, off-road environments, and at exhibitions. They're still used in places where simplicity and capability matter, and they can still do exactly what they were built to do. And perhaps that's why the lightweight isn't valued for comfort or performance, but for the idea behind it. If you enjoy stories about machines built for the toughest conditions, consider subscribing to the channel.